I started this business about 3 years ago. The whole reason I started was because I always had a passion for.
Members of the Senate and guests will please rise as we receive our distinguished president.
The Senate will please come to order. Members and guests will remain standing while we're led in the devotion by our chaplain, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Chaplain?
Recall that the Lord himself urges us to enter through the narrow gate. For wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. From the Gospel of Matthew, of course, chapter 7, verses 13 and 14. Bow in prayer with me, please. Dear loving and merciful God, the lesson captured in today's scripture is one I believe most all of us know well. For indeed, following the road you want each of us to pursue in life is truly challenging. After all, the demands that inevitably confront us, the commitment you expect from each one of us, those choices we know that we are expected to avoid, it's not at all easy to follow in the way you would have us go. So we more than ever, O Lord, give honor and thanks for those senators and their aides who pointedly do their very best to keep on that narrow road of your choosing, doing those things that bring glory to you and that result in the very best blessings for our state and for all of her people. In your glorious name we so pray, dear Lord. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Senator from Cherokee, what purpose are you asking? Call of the Senate has been requested, granted, ordered. Clerk will ring the bell. Reading clerk will call the roll of the Senate to record your presence.
Mr. Adams, present. Mr. Alexander, present. Mr. Allen is present. Mr. Bennett is present. Mr. Blackman, present. Mr. Bright, absent. Mr. Campson.
Welcome to State House today. I'm Gavin Jackson, live here in the State House lobby. It is Friday, May 22nd, 2026, and it is day 6 of the special called session by the governor. As we are in the Senate roll call right now, we'll jump back into the chambers shortly. Again, this is a special session the governor called last Thursday after both chambers adjourned sine die at 5 p.m. He issued that executive order at 5:40 asking lawmakers to come back and complete unfinished business. While he can't dictate what they do, he did stipulate in his executive order that he wanted lawmakers to take up that redistricting push that they've been doing late in the session, and we continue that push now since, of course, the House sent that map over that they approved earlier this week to the Senate. We had that Senate Judiciary Committee meeting on Wednesday, and yesterday was the first day the Senate took up the bill in some debate. But of course, over here in the Senate, rules are a little bit different than what we saw over in the House. In fact, that we can't even see any votes taking place. We can't see any moves to invoke cloture to limit debate and amendments on this debate right now until tomorrow at the earliest, based on the rules that are written right now for reapportionment debates in the Senate. But that can change if we see, which we expect to see, well, we expect to see a vote in an attempt to change those rules. That was a motion we saw from Senator Larry Grooms yesterday. He wanted to suspend certain rules so they could expedite this debate on the Senate floor. So we'll see that vote come soon, but that vote requires a 2/3 majority of the members of the Senate. There's 46 members in there. 2/3 of that is 31. That's a hard 31. And as we've seen before, when it comes to trying to get to 31 votes, when it comes to redistricting, that the votes are not there. Specifically when lawmakers pass that sine die resolution that included redistricting in order for them to take it up after sine die, right? So that resolution dictates what lawmakers could have done after they gavelled out last Thursday. That resolution did not pass in the Senate as it did in the House because, again, they didn't have those 2/3 after 5 Republicans jumped to join the 12 Democrats in a 29-17 vote last Tuesday. That prompted the governor to then call back lawmakers, a move that he said he was not going to do. It's leaving it up to the lawmakers to determine this. That changed, and he called lawmakers back, like I said, last Thursday after they gavelled out sine die. So here we are right now, and we could see that motion happen fairly quickly after they've gavelled in. We don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but again, Senator Larry Grooms made that motion. He had to make that motion 24 hours in advance of it actually taking place. So if you're watching yesterday and wondering why they didn't just do it then, it's because of these fun rules that we have in the Senate. And it's different. I mean, that's what we saw happen over in the House, right? On Monday evening, we saw that Rules Committee meet, and they passed a resolution on the House floor suspending their debate rules, right? Because we heard from House Majority Leader Davey Hyatt, who said they weren't going to invoke cloture, which limits debate, limits the number of amendments you can have, but instead they did something different. So it's very similar to cloture, which is what they did by passing those rules, changing how many amendments folks could have. They could only have one amendment, debate for a certain amount of minutes, and then a certain amount of time on the bill itself. And that's how they got that move through in the House faster. Senators are trying to replicate that, but it's not clear that they were able to do that, especially if the vote maintains what it was last week. So that 29-17 vote, you need 31, and we don't expect anyone to really jump ship, especially Senator Shane Massey, who we talked with yesterday, who told us that he's not driving this train. So if you're wondering how this debate is going to be strategized, how it's going to be driven, he's saying he's just a passenger on the train like the rest of us right now. We've seen him guide major debates in the past. There's some fluidity to it. There's some strategy to it. And right now, he's not in charge of that. So it's going to be left up to the other folks who are trying to push this through. And he actually said that there's a roadmap already in place that all senators should be aware of. And that's what the Supreme Court ruled last year when it came to this decision. Looking back at the 2022 redistricting maps, because the League of Women Voters filed a suit in the state Supreme Court, and I'm going to read a lot of it because it's pretty wonky. Just looking into calling the congressional redistricting plan continue as an extreme partisan gerrymander in violation of several provisions of the state constitution, such as the equal right to elect an officer, the equal rights charge, intentionally diluting the electoral influence of voters of disfavored political parties, and also suppressing the electoral influence of certain voters based on their viewpoints and prior voting history, which would be a violation of the free speech clause. So they made all these assertions in that case. And the state Supreme Court ruled last September in a very interesting opinion that a lot of folks are using as kind of like the roadmap again for this debate, and what could happen if we do see a vote going forward. Again, if they don't suspend these rules, the soonest they could have a second reading vote would be on Saturday. That means it'd be another 2 days until they could have a third reading vote, which would be Tuesday. And we've already been told that there'd be an immediate lawsuit filed by several folks that would send it across the street to the state Supreme Court. And when we start talking about what the Supreme Court might do, we look back to that decision that we heard from last year, including Chief Justice John Kittredge's opinion. Hold on, someone's texting me while I'm talking. I wonder if it's important or not. It sounds like someone just texted me. There's 13 senators who have not answered the call so far yet today when it comes to the quorum call right now. So it's going to be even tougher for Republicans who voted in favor of that resolution, the 29 to get to the 31. Again, it's a hard 31. It's not of those present and voting, it's 31 of, it's 2/3 of the entire chamber. So it's gonna be an interesting morning. It could be a quick day, like yesterday kind of was, because again, they can't take much up. And we've been told Saturday is going to be the busy day. But I want to go back to, again, what Chief Justice John Kittredge wrote in a concurring opinion with Justice Gary Hill, which is along similar lines of what the opinion was on that map. And he says, as a result, we are seeing and we will continue to see state legislatures race to further minimize and perhaps erase the representation of the state's minority political party in Congress. Does that sound familiar right now? These results may indeed be in line with each respective state's constitution and laws, but they collectively have the effect of diminishing our constitutional republic as a whole. This is a troubling prospect for those who adhere to our nation's founding principle that the people are sovereign. And he continued, I do not, however, read the court's decision as creating a categorical rule that all future claims of excessive partisan gerrymandering are beyond judicial review. I construe today's decision as a cautious judicial deference, not indifference. It remains conceivable that a future challenge may present more fully developed constitutional violations with a discernible nexus to manageable judicial standards, thereby warranting judicial intervention. So I suggest you reread that, because if you read between those lines right there, you hear the Supreme Court Chief Justice saying, we could strike this down if you send us another map based purely on political reasons. And that has been the stated intention of House and Senate Republicans pushing this move, that they want this done. We heard that from House Representative Jay Jordan, who's over that constitutional law subcommittee in the judiciary. We've heard from multiple people, including the author of this bill, Luke Rankin, State Representative Luke Rankin from Lawrence, saying that they want to use that supermajority that they have in both chambers to make it more advantageous for Republicans when it comes to the congressional map of South Carolina. Right now it's 6-1 Republican. They want to make it 7-0, to which Senate Minority Leader Brad Hutto, Democrat from Orangeburg, says, let's do it. He's down. I mean, he doesn't want this to go through. They've all been calling out this entire process, but he says that this map goes through and it withstands whatever happens at the Supreme Court, maybe the U.S. Supreme Court, it will make districts more competitive for Democrats, not less competitive or more advantageous for Republicans. So right now we're going to see what happens in the Senate. We did see some maps floating around, but then they've been taken down. There's a lot of confusion as to who might want to introduce amendments here and take some ownership of changing these maps. So again, if anyone changes anything to what happens in the Senate, it's going to have to go back to the House for a concurring vote, which will take an extra day. And right now, time is on no one's side, especially with early voting starting on Tuesday, which again is the earliest that we can see this get voted on in the Senate if they don't strike down these rules today. So that's going to be a very interesting debate, an interesting vote that should be taking place soon. Again, they need 31 votes, and as of right now, if everyone holds true, it's only 29. So we will continue on, which means we'll be here all weekend celebrating Memorial Day weekend with folks in a very, very rare moment for the state Senate. Again, we are never really here on Fridays, and we're definitely never here on the weekends, let alone Memorial Day weekend, when we're thinking of all those who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our country. So with that being said, we're going to send you over to the Senate to see what happens, and we'll probably see you tomorrow as well. For State House Today, I'm Gavin Jackson. Have a great weekend.
Senator Corbin is present. Senator Grooms is present. Further members wishing to record your presence. Have all members recorded your presence? Final call. Have all members recorded your presence? The polls are closed. The clerk will tabulate. 36 members are present. A quorum is present. Senator from Cherokee, what purpose you rise?
I have a motion.
State your motion.
Mr. President, I move that if and when the Senate adjourns today, will adjourn to meet at 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Motion is, if and when the Senate adjourns today, adjourn to meet at 10 a.m. tomorrow. All in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Roll call has been requested. 5 members second that call. 5 members do. Roll call has been ordered. Clerk will ring the bell. Senator from Charleston, Senator Tedder. Before we start the roll call, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Unanimous consent request.
State your request.
Mr. President, I've cleared this with BPS. Unanimous consent request that on tomorrow that we be allowed to place a grill on the back porch and that the chair, that you, Mr. President, appoint a grilling committee.
Objections heard. We will start the roll call. How about Monday? Reading clerk will call the roll on the motion to if and when the Senate adjourns today, we would adjourn to meet at 10 a.m. tomorrow, Saturday. The reading clerk will call the roll for
Mr. Adams? Aye. Mr. Alexander? Aye. Mr. Allen? No. Mr. Bennett? Aye. Mr. Blackman? Aye. Mr. Bright? Aye. Mr. Campson? Mr. Campson not voting? Mr. Campson votes aye. Mr. Cash? Aye. Mr. Chaplin? Aye. Mr. Clymer? Aye. Mr. Corbin? Aye. Mr. Cromer? Aye. Mr. Davis? Aye. Mrs. Devine? No. Mr. Elliott? Aye. Mr. Fernandez? Not voting, Mr. Gambrell? Aye. Mr. Garrett? Aye. Mr. Goldfinch? Aye. Mr. Graham? No. Mr. Grooms? Aye. Mr. Hembry? Aye. Mr. Hutto? No. Mr. Jackson? Not voting, Mr. Johnson? Mr. Johnson votes aye. Mr. Kennedy? Aye. Mr. Kimbrell? Not voting, Mr. Lieber? Not voting, Mr. Martin has leave. Mr. Massey? Aye. Mrs. Matthews? Not voting, Mr. Ott? No. Mr. Peeler? Aye. Mr. Rankin? Not voting, Mr. Rickenbaugh votes aye. Mr. Rice? Aye. Mr. Sabb? No. Mr. Stubbs? Aye. Mr. Sutton? Votes no. Mr. Tedder? Mr. Tedder not voting. Mr. Turner? Aye. Mr. Verdon? Aye. Mr. Walker? Not voting, Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams not voting, Mr. Young. Aye. Mr. Zell. Mr. Zell not voting.
Senator from Orangeburg. What purpose do you rise, sir?
Consent request.
State your request.
Leave for the senator from Marion for the day.
For the day. Senator Williams, leave for the day.
And leave for Senator Matthews until noon.
Without objection, Senator Matthews will have leave until noon. Senator Tedder votes no. Further members wishing to record your vote. Final call. The polls are closed and the clerk will tabulate. Senator from Spartanburg, Senator Bright, what purpose do you rise?
Unanimous consent request.
State your request.
Request for leave for Senator Lieber for until 11 o'clock.
Without objection, Senator Lieber will have leave until 11 a.m. Senator from Newberry, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Senator from Richland, Senator Jackson, has he been recorded present? Has he received a unanimous consent request for leave? I would like to make a unanimous consent request that we give leave to Senator Jackson, Senator from Richland.
Is there objection to the unanimous consent request that Senator Jackson be granted leave? Hearing no objection, so ordered. By a vote of 28 to 8, the The motion has been adopted. Senator from Berkeley, Senator Grooms, what purpose do you rise?
I move the Senate recede for 15 minutes.
Motion is that the Senate recede for 15 minutes. All in favor would say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Senate will stand receded for 15 minutes.
Angela Forbes is a health education extension agent based in York County. Angela, thanks for coming down today. You do things in several counties. What sort of programs are you particularly interested in putting on?
Well, I work with the Diabetes Prevention Program, and I also work, which is a program to help people. There are certain people and certain criteria, but it helps people prevent developing diabetes.
Okay.
People who are predisposed to it, I guess you could say. But I also teach the Hypertension Control Program, which is for folks who have already been diagnosed with hypertension. So that's 2 courses that I teach. But additionally, I get asked to do everything under the sun, nutrition, from label reading to you know, how do you prepare healthy food, to budgeting, shopping for food, that, you know, just anything to do with food and nutrition. So,
everything has to do with food.
Yeah. So it depends on the group.
All right. Well, today you've told me that you say eating fruits and vegetables is important.
Yes.
And so we thought we would talk about the fact that in South Carolina people are growing all these wonderful fruits and vegetables. Maybe we can give people some ideas on how to use them a little differently.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And fruits and vegetables, I mean, we're always trying to encourage people, and that's been my mantra, because so many people are like, we can't eat anything. Everything we eat healthy tastes bad, which is so wrong. There's so many good things out there. And fruits and vegetables play a major role in some cancers, prevention of some cancers, hypertension, diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease, and obesity plays a big role in the development of these diseases. And what you're eating, if you're not eating enough fruits and vegetables, you're probably eating a lot of other stuff.
Okay, well, let's talk about some way we can eat more of them in kind of unusual ways. I have a daughter who's become a vegetarian, and you know, in South Carolina, squash, when squash is coming in, you have a lot of squash. And so I found this recipe, and it's really, really simple, and it starts out.
And it's not deep fat fried, right?
No, it's not. Although, boy, I have to admit, put a little olive oil in a pan, and then I cut this up relatively small, and I like using the 2 colors because I think that makes it pretty. And then you just dump that in, and then I've also got some garlic, and you cook it on low, and you just do something else in the kitchen, and you just stir it. Don't put any water in it. You know, squash has a lot of water in it.
Yeah, well, that's true.
And then at the very end, what you want to do is you get some fresh basil, and the easiest way to cut basil up is to you know, just cut it with the scissors, and it's going to cook down, so you use kind of big pieces, and then you put some Parmesan cheese in, and stir it up. And so I've got this ready. I've already cooked the noodles, and the recipe said use a large noodle that it will stick to better rather than regular spaghetti noodles.
I was thinking spaghetti noodles.
Yeah, and so you just toss that up, and then when you serve it, put a little more, keep those trusty scissors handy, a little more basil on the top.
Yum.
And a fair amount of
good.
Parmesan
Ooh, it smells
cheese.
awesome.
And then if you can't find basil, and put the Parmesan cheese on top. And if you don't have basil, you can get balsamic pesto.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Basil pesto, and it's already got the Parmesan cheese in it, and that gives you the exact same flavors. Yeah. So very easy.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, that smells good.
Okay. And so this is something that you'd serve hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And that could be, as your daughter is vegetarian, that could be the meal, but that could also just be a side dish for those folks that want to have a piece of chicken or something.
And then since we have all these wonderful watermelons and things coming in, I think you've got a fun salad for us.
Well, I do, and I actually got my watermelon from a local farm up where I'm from. But this watermelon, I just wanted to show you, is a seedless watermelon, and it's orange. And when I cut it open, I was like, oh, I was expecting it to be pink.
Boy, talk about colorful.
Yeah, so it calls for a small.
That's really fun.
Small watermelon. Yeah, and it's really good. It calls for a small watermelon, and it also calls for a pint of cherry or grape tomatoes, whatever flavor you want to use. And then it called for, you can slice it or dice it, but it called for about a medium-sized purple onion. The purple onion to me is a little stronger, and it's pretty. And this is real oniony. So
Yeah.
if you don't like all that onion.
That sweet and that onion flavor. It's
Yes,
just going to be great mixed together.
And you could have cut that back
Yeah.
if you wanted to.
However you
'cause,
want it, yeah.
So I thought I'd have a little fun with this, and I'll tell you in just a second. But it called for a half a cucumber.
Okay.
So I bought a small cucumber, so it would be a little more. Hopefully, it would be a little more tender. Because personally, I don't like really big chunks, but that's me. And then you want to mix this up, and I'm going to tell you what else I did. Because with salads, you can add whatever you want. You could add peppers, you know, and personally I didn't want the bell pepper flavor, the green bell pepper. So I bought the Jaja pepper at the farm. And I never tried a Jaja pepper. This is a sweet pepper.
And look how pretty that color
It is. It's
Yeah.
Clemson orange, you know. And so
It's Jaja Gabor because it's so lovely.
Right, exactly. And you just toss it together. And then I also thought I'd have a little fun, and I bought some blueberries.
And as you say,
isn't that
when
pretty?
you're doing these things, don't feel like you have to just use the ingredients that somebody else used. Feel free to experiment. Because don't you think that having a variety of fruits and vegetables instead of every night having a sweet potato and some broccoli, you would encourage us to run the gamut and have lots of different colors and textures and things in making our selections, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and I like that you said textures because it also calls for the different fruits and vegetables have different vitamins, different minerals, different phytochemicals or antioxidants, which are found to help in cancer prevention, helps in this preventing the cell growth.
Yes.
And every vegetable, every fruit is unique. But the texture is that's a really good point because I think it's good to get a variety of textures. I think that makes it more interesting and more likely to eat it, you know, for a lot of folks.
Good for your internal digestion as well. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Now you've got a wonderful looking salad dressing.
Smell that.
Oh, my.
This is so good. It is just a little honey. It's a little bit of, it calls for red wine vinegar, and hold that thought. It called for olive oil, and I cut back the olive oil just a tad. It was a 4th cup, and I thought it was a little bit oily. But that was just my opinion, but I used the white wine vinegar with the grape must in it. Oh, it is so good. That grape must adds a sweet flavor, and the lime it did not call for, but
you can't go wrong.
Personally, I can't stand it. Lime in it just
you can't go wrong in the summer.
And then in the dressing also has mint leaves.
Oh,
just like you said.
Okay.
I didn't cut mine. I just tore them up, but it was in the dressing, so we'll just
because you want to taste
throw
them.
a little bit more in there.
Bite of one.
Yep. And honestly, I think that the recipe says to mix baby spinach with it, but I think it would be better to put it in the refrigerator and let it marinate, and then put it on top of baby spinach or whatever kind of lettuce you want to use. Some of the colored lettuce.
Don't feel wedded to the recipe.
Exactly.
Vary it according to what's in season, what you're growing in your garden, and what your family, what their personal preferences are.
That's right.
But this is a good way to introduce things to people too. If you don't like cucumber, you can put that in there, and the person who doesn't like it can pick it out. But sometimes they're going to try it because it's in there, and all the other flavors are so good. I think it's a good way to introduce people to new things when you can mix them. How many fruits and vegetables should we aim for a day?
Well, and you know, it depends on the person's age, their activity level, and their sex, men or women, because men are typically can eat more calories. But what I love to use, what we used to say was the 5-a-day for Better Health program. It's not called that now, but it's just an easy, easy way to help people. I think, as a registered dietitian, I've worked in the community a long time, and I'm trying to get people to make fruit and vegetable consumption more important because it is so important for health. If you could just remember 2 fruits, 2 vegetables, a medium-sized piece of fruit, or a half cup cut up fruit or vegetable, cooked or raw, and then
not huge servings.
No, and leafy would be a cup. If it's spinach or if it's lettuce or whatever, it would be a cup.
All right.
And it's so easy to remember that. If we could get everybody doing that, I think you would see a lot of difference in people's health. And it was a simple way to remember it.
All right, well, I'm going to hold my hand up and say stop to some of the things that I shouldn't eat and say go for the things that are good for us. Thanks for coming and sharing these tips with us.
Thank you. I appreciate coming, and I want to have some now.
Prescribed burning, also known as controlled burning, are planned fires conducted under specific conditions to achieve various land management goals. In South Carolina, more than 500,000 acres of land are burned each year through prescribed burnings. These intentional fires are an essential tool in managing the state's diverse ecosystems, including forests, grasslands, and wetlands. While the concept of intentionally setting fires may seem counterintuitive, the prescribed burnings offer a range of benefits for both the environment and society. They are also quite a spectacle when you get to see them from the sky. Prescribed burnings offer numerous benefits. They reduce fuel loads, lowering the risk of uncontrolled wildfires, and restore habitats by removing overgrowth and invasive species. Additionally, prescribed burnings improve forest health, particularly in pine forests, by reducing competition from hardwoods and encouraging the growth of desirable species. One of the primary agencies responsible for conducting prescribed burnings in South Carolina is the South Carolina Forestry Commission. Working closely with other agencies like the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources, landowners, communities, and other stakeholders, they ensure the prescribed burnings are conducted safely and effectively. The process of conducting a prescribed burn involves precise planning and execution. Fire managers begin by strategically igniting a backfire or backburn, which burns against the prevailing wind. This intentional strategy creates a slower moving, more manageable fire. Once the backfire is established, additional methods like flank fires and head fires are used to fill in the burn area. These fires are carefully controlled to limit the heat intensity and smoke production, ensuring they stay within acceptable levels. The goal is to create a mosaic pattern of burned and unburned vegetation, achieving the desired land management objectives while minimizing the environmental impact. After a prescribed burn is conducted, the immediate aftermath may show a blackened understory, with smaller fuels consumed by the fire. However, larger fuels like logs and stumps may continue to smolder for several days. Over time, herbaceous vegetation will resprout.
We're on page 1. Senator from Orangeburg, what purpose you rise?
Point of personal expression.
Recognized for point of personal expression. Interest, up to 5 minutes.
Yeah, members, before we get started, if I can get your attention, I just, as we all do, we're in here yesterday and not necessarily attuned to what's going on in the outside world. And as I was riding home yesterday, as most of us probably did, turned on my radio just to see what was happening. And, you know, I knew that there were other legislative bodies who were under pressure to do something by yesterday. And so as I was listening to see how they had reacted to this, I heard that the U.S. Senate, faced with a decision to try and vote yesterday, they went home. They went home. The U.S. House, faced with a decision that they were supposed to vote yesterday, pressure to vote yesterday, they went home. But you know what they always say? We're not Washington.
Senator from Spartanburg, Senator Bright, what purpose do you rise?
Unanimous consent request.
State your request.
For leave for Senator Fernandez for the day.
Without objection, the senator from Berkeley, Senator Fernandez, has leave for the day. Senator from Charleston, Senator Lieber, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Unanimous consent request.
State your request.
My grandfather was 99 years old, and he passed away yesterday. His name was James Lieber. If we could adjourn in his memory, I appreciate it.
The Senate will adjourn in his memory, and we're sorry for your loss. We're now on page 1, redistricting H 5683. Senator from Orangeburg, what purpose do you ask?
Unanimous consent to go to Amendment 19.
Is there objection to the unanimous consent request by the senator from Orangeburg to go to amendment number 19? Hearing no objection, we will proceed to amendment number 19. Reading. The reading clerk will please publish.
Amendment number 19 by Senators Graham and Sutton amends a bill, Section 4, adds a subsection to read.
Senator from Charleston, Senator Sutton, what purpose do you rise?
Explain the amendment.
You're recognized on the amendment, sir. Senator from Charleston, Senator Sutton, on his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before I get into this, I just wanted to say thank you. I know it was mentioned yesterday, and it probably should be mentioned every day, but I want to thank our staff, our pages, and all the security that are working overtime here to be here during this special session, and then also coming up over the holiday weekend. I know it's a huge, huge inconvenience to a lot of people. And I'll tell you one thing I'm a little bit miffed about today is this morning was my 6-year-old's kindergarten graduation. And he's only going to have one of those in his life, and I was not there. I was not there for his kindergarten graduation this morning because we were here doing this. So I know that's a lot of people here are in the same boat that we were expecting to be home last week, back with our families, back to our full-time jobs, but we're up here doing this work. So just want to say thank you to everybody who's sacrificing time from their family. This amendment in front of you, 19, I will promise you will be the easiest vote you will take all weekend on this. This is the military absentee amendment, and we also have Mr. Wade Fuller up in the balcony who gave us fantastic testimony on Wednesday. He is a veteran of Vietnam, is proudly wearing his 82nd Airborne hat. Also served in the 101st Airborne Division, which I was a member of that division for 2.5 years when I did my exchange tour with the Army. And I believe Mr. Fulmer had campaigned for Reagan, Bush, and I'm probably missing some other Republican presidents in there that he was involved with their campaigns. You guys have heard me talk about this a lot. Voting absentee by military is a long-standing tradition. We've been doing it since the Civil War. And at this point, we've had 11,000 absentee ballots out. Roughly about 2,500 of those are military. As of Wednesday, I think we're a little over 800 military ballots have been returned. And it's not just military ballots, it's also spouses, defense contractors, folks that work for our Department of Defense that are overseas and not able to be here during the election. So what this amendment does, since these people have followed the rules, done the right thing, they will automatically get a new absentee ballot for the August primary for their congressional races. Since it is a new, now, our current law, the way it's structured, is you would automatically, for a runoff, get an absentee ballot, but this situation we're in has never been contemplated before, that we would take one race, our congressional races, move those to August after ballots already mailed out and printed. So what this would do is it would automatically, anybody who, for the June 9th primary requested a absentee ballot, they would automatically get one for the August primary for their congressional races, so we don't have to worry about those people going back and having to resubmit that request and fill out the paperwork again. Another testimony that we received on Wednesday that really stood out was a retired Army colonel. And my question to him is, what is he's somebody like myself who has led troops in combat. What is the effect of this? What do you think the mentality will be to people in our armed services that, again, followed all the rules, did everything correctly, but the rules were changed on them mid-process? Will they be disenfranchised and less likely to vote in the next iteration? Because the calculus they're probably making in their brain is, why even participate? Like, I did everything right, nothing, no fault of my own, but my vote in my congressional race was discarded, and also probably live in a different congressional district now. And his response, this retired colonel, said, yeah, it's like there's no question that people will be less likely to participate in our elections when they feel disenfranchised and their votes are cast aside when they've done nothing wrong on their end. So again, what this amendment would do, those folks would automatically get another absentee ballot for the August primary. So we're making it, I don't think we should be doing this at all, obviously, but if we are, I think that we should make it as absolutely easy as possible for our active duty service members serving overseas, their spouses, our defense contractors, to receive another ballot and be able to participate in our most fundamental right as citizens of this country, which is to vote. So with all that being said, happy to take any questions.
Senator from Newberry, what purpose do you rise, sir?
If the senator from Charleston would yield for
yes, sir.
one or two questions.
Senator yields for questions.
Senator, remind me of the process, and I'm very familiar with the absentee ballots for our military folks, but how about for the runoffs, which are only like 2 weeks, so there's only a 2-week turnaround time. Are we able to get them ballots out for the runoff also in that 2-week period and be able to turn them around and get them back? Do you know?
So right now, state statute, that is automatic, that you would get a absentee ballot for a runoff election. Now, when I voted absentee when I was deployed over a decade ago, it was all mail back then. Apparently now it's mail, and there is also an electronic way you can vote from overseas, which is great. I'm glad that we have that. I never got to experience that myself. But I think it's very, very realistic that mail for a runoff election will probably not make it to people on time. And we're talking to people on aircraft carriers, right? That's very, our postal service in the military does an excellent job, but sometimes you can't get mail to the other side of the world on an aircraft carrier in 2 weeks. That's just not a realistic timeline there. And the other thing, and I'm a C-17 pilot, I experienced this, is I bought around all over the AOR, and I had a home base, but sometimes we what's called chopped. We would get chopped and say, all right, we're going to take this element, we're going to put them over here in Turkey now or some other place. So constantly, especially in the aviation world, moving around. So for us getting mail, that can certainly be a challenge. So some people will certainly absolutely be missed, but that doesn't mean we should not try as a state to protect their right.
I was not aware that we can now use electronic methods, but I go back to you in 1991 up on the border of Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia. It would be maybe 2 weeks or more before we could get mail from home, even though the Army does a fantastic job and the Navy and Air Force. Your folks are a little bit more privileged because they can fly it in and out, in a day's time. But with the Army, I mean, it took almost 2 weeks. So that was my concern, is would we be able to get those ballots to them in time there and then return mail back? But if you're telling me we can do it online, that's great, provided we do allow that in South Carolina, and I hope we do allow that for those who are stationed overseas.
Yes, sir, and I appreciate that sentiment. And like I said, some people on the mail side that have chosen that may not get it, but it does not mean we should not try, because the voting right is so fundamental to who we are as a country. So with all that being said, I'll move for adoption.
Pending motion is the adoption of the amendment. Senator from Berkeley, Senator Grooms, what purpose do you rise?
Move to table the amendment.
Motion is to table the amendment. Roll call has been requested to 5 members. Do 5 members second that roll call? I don't see 5. I do not see 5 hands. All those in favor of the tabling motion is say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The motion to table. Roll call has been requested. 5 members second that call. 5 members do second the call. Reading clerk will call the roll. Question is the motion to table the amendment.
Mr. Adams? Aye. Mr. Alexander? Aye. Mr. Allen? Mr. Allen not voting. Mr. Bennett? Mr. Bennett votes no. Mr. Blackman? Aye. Mr. Bright? Aye. Mr. Campson? No. Mr. Cash? Not voting. Mr. Chaplin? Votes aye. Mr. Clymer? Aye. Mr. Corbin? Not voting. Mr. Cromer? No. Mr. Davis? No. Mrs. Devine? No. Mr. Elliott? Not voting. Mr. Fernandez has leave. Mr. Gambrell? No. Mr. Garrett? Not voting. Mr. Goldfinch? No. Mr. Graham? No. Mr. Grooms? Aye. Mr. Hembry? No. Mr. Hutto? No. Mr. Jackson has leave. Mr. Johnson? Mr. Johnson votes no. Mr. Kennedy? Not voting. Mr. Kimbrell? Votes aye. Mr. Lieber? No. Mr. Martin has leave. Mr. Massey? No. Mrs. Matthews has leave. Mr. Ott? No. Mr. Peeler? Aye. Mr. Rankin? Not voting. Mr. Rickenbaugh? Not voting. Mr. Rice? No. Mr. Sabb? No. Mr. Stubbs? No. Mr. Sutton? Votes no. Mr. Tedder? No. Mr. Turner? Aye. Mr. Verdon? No. Mr. Walker? Votes no. Mr. Williams has leave. Mr. Young? Aye. Mr. Zell? No.
Have all senators recorded your vote? Senator Elliott votes aye. Senator Cash votes no. Senator Corbin votes aye. Senator Garrett votes aye. Senator Young votes no. Have all senators recorded your vote? Senator Bright votes no. Senator Rickenbach votes no. Senator Kennedy votes no. Senator Chaplin votes no. Senator Clymer votes no. Senator Kimbrell votes no. Senator Peeler votes no. Senator Garrett votes no. Senator Corbin votes no. Senator Turner votes no. Senator Adams votes no. Senator Grooms votes no. Senator Alexander votes no. Senator Blackman votes no. Have all senators recorded your vote? Have all senators recorded your vote? The polls Senator Elliott votes no. Of all senators recorded your vote. The polls are closed and the clerk will tabulate. By a vote of 0 to 39, the tabling motion fails. Senator from Berkeley, Senator Grooms, what purpose do you rise?
Be heard on the amendment.
You're recognized on the amendment. The senator from Berkeley, Senator Grooms.
Members of the Senate,
On the amendment.
that was an interesting vote we took. We do respect our men and women who are serving overseas, and unless my recall was a little bit different, it seemed like the director of the election our director of our elections, Conway Belangi, before the Senate Judiciary Committee stated that all military overseas ballots, should this legislation pass, that they would automatically be mailed another ballot. And if someone else heard something different than that, maybe I should be corrected on that, but wanted to make sure we got the record straight on that particular matter.
Senator from Charleston, Senator Sutton, what purpose do you rise?
Senator Yield for some questions.
Senator yields.
Senator yields for questions.
Are you aware that's not what the election director said? He thinks they may be able to, but putting it in statute will ensure that it's treated just like runoffs and absentee for primaries. So this is one of those things. Why take a risk with it at all? I mean, here we are, Memorial Day weekend. Why would we not put it in statute to send automatically people that the election was rescheduled on them, no fault of their own, military voters again on Memorial Day weekend when we're honoring our war dead? Let's just make it as easy as possible for our military members to vote.
I appreciate that. No, I wasn't aware. I believe that I may have been mistaken on what the exact testimony was, so perhaps we should follow back up with the elections director before we actually amend a bill. It'd be my position that going forward, that we just table all the amendments. It just adds another day. And where we are.
Senator from Charleston, Senator Lieber, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Senator Yield for a question.
Senator Yield.
Senator yields for question.
I think because of the seriousness of the question about military members being able to vote, I voted in 1996 in Bosnia for Bob Dole. I remember for this day. It's sort of a sacred thing to do. So maybe, as you're bringing up the question that we might not have it right with the director, we don't necessarily have his advice on this correct. Maybe we could carry this over so that we can get with him, discuss it, bring this back up for a proper vote.
It would be my hope before we take a final vote on this amendment that we do that to make sure we have the right information. But members, just let me take a minute to explain where we are. Early voting begins on Tuesday. Tens of thousands of South Carolinians will go to their early voting places on Tuesday morning. They will push the buttons on a voting machine. And I think that's a little bit different than the mail-in ballots that are being sent out there. Under the Senate rules, under Rule 15 regarding cloture, and there's some folks that might not understand that, and there's some folks in this chamber who've really never had to pay attention to that part, to Rule 15B. Rule 15B, our rule regarding reapportionment, requires a minimum of 3 legislative days before a cloture motion can even be offered. And on the 3rd legislative day, after a cloture motion is made and passed by 26 members of this body, if 26 members on the 3rd legislative day votes for cloture, then we will move immediately to the amendments. and deal with the amendments. And I'm not sure how many are up there now or how many there will be tomorrow, but I think it's safe to assume it's well more than 100. And when you start disposing of each of these amendments one after another, when you start listening to, well, first, before we get to the amendments, every member of this body gets 1 hour. 1 hour of discussion. Discussion on an amendment, discussion on the main portion of the bill, discussion of whatever you want. Every member gets an hour. The rule states no more than 46 hours, and it says 46 hours because there's 46 of us. Some won't talk, some will. At least 20 members will probably use their 1 hour. So now you're talking a minimum of 4 days before you can get a second reading. And then a minimum of 4 days before you can get a third reading and send the bill to the governor. The point I'm making is, under our current rules, the quickest that we'll be able to get a bill to the governor for his signature will be sometime after early voting begins and tens of thousands of South Carolinians will have cast their ballots in the voting machines. The only way to avoid that, the only way would be to speed this process up. Now, the House of Representatives, when they had this bill, they understood this. They understood that the timing of how quickly can you move a bill would be problematic. They spent an additional 2 legislative days that are now proving to be very critical for us, those that want to pass this legislation. Those 2 days have now made it impossible for us to send a bill to the governor for his signature before early voting begins. The only way to speed that up with the House, they had to have a meeting of their Rules Committee, and they changed their rules to allow some of the amendments to be taken out to speed up the process. Our rules are basically set in concrete every 4 years, but what we can do, we can suspend a rule. Yesterday, I made notice, according to Rule 43, I gave notice that I will make a motion today to suspend our Rule 15, that governs the process that requires at least 3 legislative days plus another legislative day of debate, so 4 days.
Senator.
The only way we'll be able to move a bill to the governor in time before early voting would be to adopt the motion I'm about to make, and that would be to suspend Rule 15.
Motion. That's the motion.
So, Mr. President, I now make the motion to suspend Rule 15 and ask for a roll call.
Motion is to suspend Rule. The motion has been made to suspend Rule 15. Roll call has been requested. The 5 members second that call. More than 5 members do. The clerk will ring the bell. Senator from Greenville, before we start the roll call, Senator Allen, what purpose do you rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Rule 15 has been in existence and adopted by this body for how long?
I can't give advisory opinions. I don't know how long it's been. We're in the middle of a roll call. The reading clerk will call the roll of the Senate on the adoption of the motion by the senator from Berkeley, Senator Grooms, to suspend Rule 15. Reading clerk will call the roll. Reading clerk will call the roll of the Senate.
Mr. Adams? Aye. Mr. Alexander? Aye. Mr. Allen? No. Mr. Bennett? No. Mr. Blackman. Not voting, Mr. Bright. Aye. Mr. Campson. No. Mr. Cash. Aye. Mr. Chaplin. Not voting, Mr. Clymer. Aye. Mr. Corbin. Aye. Mr. Cromer. Aye. Mr. Davis. No. Mrs. Devine. Mrs. Devine not voting. Mr. Elliott. Aye. Mr. Fernandez has leave. Mr. Gambrell. Aye. Mr. Garrett. Aye. Mr. Goldfinch. Aye. Mr. Graham. No. Mr. Grooms. Aye. Mr. Hembry. No. Mr. Hutto. No. Mr. Jackson has leave. Mr. Johnson. Aye. Mr. Kennedy. Aye. Mr. Kimbrell. Aye. Mr. Lieber. Aye. Mr. Martin has leave. Mr. Massey. No. Mrs. Matthews has leave. Mr. Ott votes no. Mr. Peeler. Aye. Mr. Rankin. Not voting, Mr. Rickemaw. Aye. Mr. Rice votes no. Mr. Sabb. No. Mr. Stubbs. Not voting, Mr. Sutton. No. Mr. Tedder votes no. Mr. Turner. Aye. Mr. Verdon. Aye. Mr. Walker. No. Mr. Williams has leave. Mr. Young. Aye. Mr. Zell votes no.
Of all senators voted, Senator Blackman votes aye. Senator Chaplin votes aye. Senator Devine votes no. Further members wishing to record your vote. Senator Zell votes aye. Senator Stubbs votes aye. Further members wishing to record your vote. Last call. Anyone wishing to record your vote? The polls, Senator. Polls are closed. The clerk will please tabulate. By a vote of 25 to 15, the motion fails. The senator from Berkeley, Senator Grooms, what purpose do you rise?
Speak to the amendment.
You're recognized on the amendment. While he comes to the podium, Senator from Charleston, Senator Sutton, what purpose do you rise?
Mr. President, point of order. I believe you can only speak to an amendment one time per member. Is it twice? Then I would draw that point of order.
Senator from Berkeley speaking on the amendment.
All these amendments, well, there's a number of amendments, and we're on one right now, and it deserves a good bit of, this amendment deserves a good bit of debate and understanding, and we do have the election director here. I intend to go speak with him in a little while, just to ensure that should this become law, that every member of the military overseas will be able to get another ballot. But in my mind, that now becomes very, very difficult to achieve, because that's assuming that this bill becomes law. The only way for this bill to become law before early voting was for that previous motion to receive 31 votes. And if it had received 31 votes, we would have suspended the rule, which would allow us to move into a cloture vote much earlier. And the minimum number for a cloture vote would be 26 votes. The motion to suspend only received 25. 25. That's less than what it would take to even achieve cloture. So I don't think we're going to have to worry too much about passing legislation to ensure that our overseas men and women would be guaranteed another ballot should this become law. I get a very good understanding of where we are right now. We had an opportunity to be able to move this bill to the governor for his signature before early voting began. And we needed 31 votes to do it, and we had 25. That's 6 votes short. And actually, it's 1 vote short of a cloture motion. So, Mr. President,
you want to take point? Senator from Kershaw, Senator Graham, what purpose do you rise?
Senator yield for a question.
Senator yields.
Senator yields for a question.
Senator, you asked for some clarity on the judiciary meeting that was over 7 hours, and I have clear notes here that I wrote, amendment needed per the director that to guarantee that these ballots to be replaced. Now, I'm not certain that I write a lot, but I wrote it here on this piece of paper because he was not confident that he could automatically do it. And so I do think, as you've heard from the body, that's what the director asked of us. And so that's why this amendment came up. And so I just want to be clear that that's what he asked for.
Senator, thank you for that. I appreciate your thoroughness and also for your note-taking. I too take a lot of notes, and my trouble is when I read over my notes, I'm unable to read my handwriting. Miss Ernestine Huxford, my 4th grade teacher, would often chastise me over my handwriting, and that sort of went from teacher to teacher, into my wife, and to my children, and to all others. So, yeah, the handwriting is sometimes a little bit difficult.
Senator from Greenville, Senator Corbin, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Senator Yield for a question.
Senator Yields.
Senator, did you know that the director of the state election commissions is now in the lobby?
Mm-hmm.
Senator, did you know that I just sent him a text message asking him that if this bill passed unamended, would our overseas military be able to receive ballots to vote? And his answer, text back to me, was yes.
Well, Senator, thank you for that. I do want to have a conversation with him myself, but members, understand where we are right now. We're in the 2nd legislative day, and so now under our existing rules, before we can even consider a cloture vote, that would be tomorrow. All these amendments would then have to be voted on tomorrow, even after there's a cloture vote. So right now, we're just spinning our wheels, because under our rules, we have to burn another legislative day before we could take it up with our normal cloture rules. So I'm having a hard time understanding of why we should even hang around here a little bit later today. I'll like to have some conversations with some more members, but it's probably a good idea at some time we move to adjourn. But at this time, I would move that we carry over this amendment.
Motion is to carry over the amendment. All those in favor would say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The amendment is carried over. We publish the next amendment.
Next amendment is amendment number 8 by Senator Hutto and others previously proposed. Then the bill adds a new section.
Senator from Orangeburg, what purpose do you rise, sir? You're recognized on your amendment. Senator from Orangeburg.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the amendment we were on yesterday. And of course, the senator from Berkeley said some pretty insightful words a minute ago about where we are. And of course, where we are is we're not really going to get to a vote until tomorrow. So It's just a question of how long y'all want to hear me talk today, which I'm perfectly prepared to talk to you for 5 minutes or 5 hours, and we can decide. But as a practical matter, we're only beating ourselves up today by continuing to stay here. There will be a vote in which everybody's vote will count, and either there will be a cloture or there won't be a cloture. But that ain't going to happen today. So it just really depends on how eloquent y'all think I am and how much you want to endure. But I'm here, and we'll give it a try. If somebody wants to give me the high sign that y'all are ready to go, we can certainly do that. But it's not going to make any difference. I already got one high sign. Okay. You know, it's not going to make any difference if we leave. For the purpose of the rules, it has to be under debate for a day. Since I'm up here talking, whether it's for 5 minutes or 5 hours, it's under debate for this day being Friday. And if y'all want to continue on, we'll continue on this day, Friday. But the real vote is going to be when we get here tomorrow. And tomorrow will be under Rule 15, under a reapportionment bill. There will be a motion, I'm sure, to bring the debate to a close, and that will require a certain number of votes depending on the number of members that are here. And we'll decide tomorrow whether we cloture it or not. And then the senator from Berkeley, as he explained once, if cloture's not adopted, then we'll continue to talk and take up amendments in the ordinary course of business. We wouldn't, if a cloture vote fails, we don't just necessarily adjourn. We continue on with the deliberative process, and there can be a second cloture motion made at some point because the 2 days will have expired, okay? But that won't happen today. Tomorrow, if the cloture vote does pass at some point in time, whether it's on a first, second, or third vote, or if at all, if it passes, then we go to the rest of that rule, which then says that every member gets an hour to talk. And as I read the rule, when it says talk, it doesn't necessarily mean talk from up here. It could be talking from your desk. It could be asking questions. It could be, as long as you've got a microphone in your hand and you're speaking, it's counting against your 1 hour, okay? And so I don't know whether we're going to have 46 stopwatches or not, but apparently we're going to have 46 stopwatches. And every member, when you get that microphone and get recognized, your clock goes on, and at some point in time, your hour is going to be up, and next time you try and stand up, somebody's going to raise the point of order that your hour has expired. But we'll go through that process, however long that takes, and it will probably, as the senator from Berkeley said, take at least, I don't know, 18 or 20 hours, maybe. It could be a little bit less, could be a little bit more. But that's why I suggest to you that going home today and getting rested up for tomorrow might be a really good idea, because today is not that day. Tomorrow is that day.
Senator from Georgetown, Senator Goldfinch, what purpose do you raise?
With the senator from Orangeburg holding the floor, I move that we recede for 30 minutes.
Motion is that with the senator from Orangeburg retaining the floor, we recede for 30 minutes. All in favor would say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. We stand receded for 30 minutes.
When the son of Carolina mounts the eastern sky, proudly stands our alma mater on the hilltop high. Orange maroon floats for a Claflin fair o'er thee. May we all be leal and loyal to thy memory.
My name is Dewan Wormack, and I have the distinct pleasure of serving as the 9th president at this historic institution. We're the #1 ranked historically black college university in the state of South Carolina and top 10 in the country. And so what makes us special is the people. It is the people that buy into the culture, it is the people that buy into the mission, and it's the people that buy into the vision. Social justice is our focal point as an institution. Mass incarceration is a social justice issue. Healthcare disparities is a social justice issue. So the university has put resources to ensure that we do everything in our power to combat some of those healthcare disparities. Our intentional focus, 100% of it, it is ensuring that our community is safe and well. And when I say well, holistically, we began to look at some data impacting African Americans in Orangeburg County, and we began to think about our own family trajectory. And I talked about my mother dying from hypertension, my grandmother dying from hypertension, my grandfather passed from hypertension, and how it's generational in our communities, but not talking about the preventative work that comes behind it. And so I approached our computer science faculty member, Dr. Lyles, and said, hey, I want to do something very creative and innovative, something that can really combat healthcare disparities, but is also to infusing technology in that work.
I am Karina Lyles, and I chair the Department of Math and Computer Science, and I'm also an associate professor of computer science at Claflin University. Computer science is a way for us to build solutions to everyday problems. We have a very forward-thinking president, and so it's very easy to get him on board with the smart home. We met and talked about things that we could do as a university to make an impact in our community, because we understand that we have a purpose here. I presented him the ideal about the smart home, and he loved it.
We purchased a home in the community, and within that home, we began to invest all of the technology that is there.
It's very important for the smart home to be a home and not a house, because we want this health consciousness to just be a part of everyone's life. We're really trying to shift lifestyles here. Imagine going into your home, but then having the additional amenities that help support the things that you need to do to take care of your health and well-being. Imagine walking into the living room, taking your blood pressure, then realizing it's elevated. The house will recognize that as well. It might dim the lights, and it might change the colors of the lights, and then it might also play soothing music. While the home is doing these things in response to your medical state, it's also informing you. So we have the displays around the house because that's the way to engage and interface with the user. The house will alert you that your blood pressure is elevated, and then also give some recommendations and things that you can do to alleviate this issue. Now let's imagine you woke up from a night's rest and you got up as you normally do to get ready for work or to get ready for school or just to start your day. When you go into the bathroom, the smart mirror gives you all of your sleep stats. And it shows the graphs, it shows the charts, it tells you the cycles of sleep that you were in and how long you were in those stages. It tells you how much you might have snored. It takes the information from the bed and then it makes sense of it to tell you slept well last night, or if you didn't, here are some things that you might want to do to get through your day. So you might want to think about reordering your to-do list, because something that requires more cognitive load might not be what you want to start out with, because it's just going to make you more drained and more tired. If you go into your bedroom, there's a workout mirror. The workout mirror allows for the cardio workout, but it also allows for meditation and yoga. A big part of the smart home is providing that health education. There are going to be times when someone might need to go to the hospital or to visit their doctor, and there may be times when you might just need to relax. And so giving them that education will help them to determine when it's time to seek medical attention or when there's some things that we can do at the home for self-care. We want to rely on the community of the individual to give them the best services possible. And so with the smart home, this data about your health can be sent directly to your health care provider. It can be sent to your doctor or your nurse or even a family member who might be monitoring your health. It allows that open line of communication, but it allows that transparency that doctors sometimes need, or sometimes we might not think of things that we should share with our doctor, but the information is there now because the house has already sent that information over, so they know what to look for, even if we don't know what to disclose.
Oftentimes you hear these studies that are impacting large metropolitan areas. Then if you extrapolate the data, you don't have a large African-American data set. And then extrapolate it further in rural America. So we want to be the thought leader in the country to be able to provide the data set. It is our hope that this data set will allow folks to make more informed medical decisions, but it's also preventative health decisions as well.
I am Shamaria Sherman, a senior